Hey, what's going on, everyone? We are going to be talking about steroids and CrossFit. With all the pec strains and tears going on right now at regionals, it's getting brought up a lot. Some people are saying that these pec strains are signs of steroids. So first off, this is my opinion. I don't have the data or the analysis on these athletes. I don't have blood work. I can't ask them whether or not they're on steroids. So this is just my opinion, looking at this from a big picture point of view instead of looking at one workout. Maybe the first day of regionals back to back, hey, steroids cause these tears. And steroids is always a hot topic in CrossFit, just because anytime someone is doing something that other people may not be able to do, usually we try to justify and find reasons why they're able to do that. And usually no one says hard work. Usually people say they're born with it, genetics, or hey, they're doing something illegal to allow them to perform at that level. So first off, we're here in Jersey. We have had members that were on steroids and it didn't really go well for them. Because there is a lot of different steroids out there. There's steroids that make your muscles bigger. There's steroids that push water out of your body so you look denser when you go to shows. There's performance enhancing drugs, I should say, instead of steroids, that help your body recover so you can do more endurance-based events, help with blood oxygen levels, red blood cells, white blood cells, all sorts of weird kind of performance enhancing drugs out there. Anything that helps you perform for endurance. Think about kind of what Lance Armstrong was on, and also think about what he had to go through, the blood work, the money, how much that costs, and the time he really had to put into that. So do I think whether or not there's steroids in CrossFit? Yes, I guarantee you there's somewhere in some gym, not necessarily just at a highly competitive level, but just, hey, maybe this is what they've always done. Maybe they want a kind of a workaround. Maybe they went to their doctor after not sleeping a few days, eating a bunch of carbohydrates, saying that, hey, my testosterone's low. And if you do that, you can test low. So that way kind of you feel better about it, right? You can see this in MMA. A bunch of people got testosterone therapy because they're a certain age and they're able to work it out, that doctors were legally giving them things that would be performance enhancing drugs otherwise. I know that's changed in MMA a little bit now. But I don't think just because an athlete is at a high level, or if they tore their pec, that they're automatically on steroids. Again, for CrossFit, it's not really beneficial just to be huge and muscular, right? We need to get more endurance. CrossFit, the sport, is an endurance sport. Think about how many workouts across how many days. Think about your training volume. So for a lot of these athletes that are at that level, most of them can't afford the regimen that you need to be on to not test positive, since a lot of these athletes now, not most of them, a bunch of them are getting tested every other month, every 3 months, off season and in season. They get tested at the games. If you watch the behind the scenes stuff, you saw Thea Boone get pulled up, woken up early to go get tested right away. So it's a good amount of money to do this. Now everyone says, yes, but it's possible. Yes, it is. It is possible that you can do it. But most of these athletes aren't at Rich Froning's level where they have the sponsorships, everything like that. I don't know how Matt Fraser's doing this Nike deal or anything, but some guy that's working the night shift at a hospital, working out 3 hours at the gym during the day, still living in his mom's house, probably isn't dumping $50,000 a year into steroids and performance enhancing drugs and the blood work and the doctors to make sure it doesn't test positive. It just doesn't add up because he wouldn't make that much money winning the games anyway. It's not a tremendous amount of money yet. So I feel like the risk to reward ratio isn't there. Now, if someone's been taking steroids or performance enhancing drugs most of their training career and they kept doing it into CrossFit, I feel like that's more likely. You will see CrossFit announce when people either test positive or B, when they skip drug tests and performance enhancing drug tests, and then they end up banning them for a year. You will see that get announced. You will see affiliates get banned. You will see teams get banned. So that kind of lets you know who may be on it. Again, some people are on it. I don't think every athlete out there is on it. Most of us don't look at, hey, Scott Panchek, when did he start working out and kind of training for sport and at a little bit of higher intensity? What, 12, 13 years old? The guy played football in college. It didn't matter if it was a D2, D3 team, D1. I don't know what level he played at. I just knew he played. So we're talking about someone from the time he was probably 12 or 13. He's always trained for sport. Probably 12 months a year, played multiple sports in high school, went to the weight room, college in the weight room. So now most of us, hey, I've been doing CrossFit for 3 years. I was just kind of bodybuilding at the gym. And now here's Scott Panchek, first year at the games, coming in 4th place, I think it was, 4th or 5th. And he keeps doing well. And he's had a couple surgeries, he's had injuries. But I hear people say he's on steroids because of what he did his first year of doing CrossFit. They're not considering the rest of his training that he's done his whole life, that work capacity that he built over time. Same thing with Rich Froning, Matt Fraser, all these athletes that, Carrie Pierce, for example, right? Gymnastics, powerlifting, CrossFit. She already had the work ethic. She already had the general work capacity because she had worked through those stages of her life. If anyone knows a gymnast, they train like crazy. Their days are long in the gym. tons of core work, lots of isometric work, lots of flexibility training, lots of strict strength before they start getting into the more dynamic work. So these people come in with their already built work capacity. And most people I say pointing fingers saying CrossFitters are on steroids, these high-level athletes, have only been training consistently maybe for a year. Most of us don't train consistently all year long. Now imagine training at least 3 to 6 times a week from the time you're 13 to the time you're 25. Think about that volume. Think about the work that your body's been through and the adaptation that will cause. So just because someone's doing well, we can't only point the finger at steroids. The next thing is with the pec tears. People are saying because, oh, this ligament, the tendons, they snap because their pecs are so strong from taking steroids, and this stuff isn't able to hold it because steroids does not help your ligaments and tendons handle that. That's why sometimes you see big time bench pressers and powerlifting, tear pec muscles, rolls up, all sorts of nasty. As of this moment, there's about 24 people that have torn a pec or strained it in some way, shape, or form at regionals. It might be more by the time you see this video. From what I know and what I've read, about half of them came in with an injury from trying to do this workout fast in training. So a lot of people are pointing the finger at CrossFit. Do I point the finger at CrossFit as being the sole person responsible for everyone tearing their pecs? Heck no. When I was playing hockey, I wouldn't blame the New Jersey Hockey Association when I broke my leg playing hockey. Is there a risk of being injured playing hockey? Yes. Something happened, hey, broke my leg, it happens, right? Not saying it happens to everyone, but it did happen to me. These athletes were loading up in a capacity and an end range in their shoulders that they're not used to loading at that speed. And a lot of us do this even just in regular CrossFit gyms, where we use speed to get through positions we don't own. We had some people that were judges and staff at regionals, and we were talking to them, and they said most of the athletes, the ring dip standard, A, they don't practice it much. B, they were unable to hit it the first time. They thought their ring dips were okay. They weren't. Most of us only go bicep to the ring. They want to see the shoulder come past the elbow. It's a little different. All the way at the top, you have to contract much harder. Most of these athletes may be doing ring dips, probably not as fast as doing this in this workout, and they're probably mostly doing muscle ups. So when we do muscle ups, we're not landing as low, and we're not ballistically loading nonstop at the ring dip portion. Even when we do strict muscle ups, again, the speed is much slower through that end range on our shoulder. So if we watch slow motion in these videos, a lot of people that have pec strains, they were dropping their body down, just unweighting, hitting the bottom, and you would see the elbow flare out and the shoulder come forward. So we're out of position. So with the elbow flaring out, it loads up the pec more anyway. You can try this, just bring your hand up as high as possible, bring that elbow out a little bit, and you'll feel your pec light up. So they're hitting that ballistically, dropping into it, kipping. So we know in kipping pull-ups, we're putting anywhere from 3 to 5 times our body weight at the end of the kip through our shoulder. That's why we want strict first. So with these ring dips, these athletes are moving so fast, they're already fatigued from the previous workout, so there is a higher chance of injury. And there's other things that go into injury besides just, hey, hitting end range, things of that nature. All these athletes were more stressed going into the regionals. It's part of it. And your body handles mental and physical stress the same way. It still breaks you down. You still need to recover from it. So some of these athletes are so stressed about trying to go fast. Who knows who's next to them? They want to go to regionals. And then they started practicing this workout way more. Just a 25% increase in training volume can lead to a 7,000% increase in injury. So this was a study that came out recently. I forget who posted it, but I read through it. It was kind of neat. But just that little bit of increase. So a lot of these athletes practice these ring dips, end range, loading up that shoulder over and over and over again before regionals, especially weekend 1, because you only had about 2 weeks. So now the volume on their shoulders was higher. Maybe the butterfly pull-up with the weight vest, here I am. It's a little bit like if I'm a tennis serve. In a tennis serve, it's above 100% loading in your pec. All right, so maybe that butterfly pull-up loaded that pec up, it was already pre-fatigued. The athlete should have gone slower on the ring dips. So I don't think it's 100% CrossFit's fault. I don't think it's steroids necessarily, right? I think these athletes just moved beyond a capacity that they owned, especially after the first workout. So I would put responsibility on the athlete primarily because they need to know that, especially the ones that went in feeling a strain, to keep going at that pace just for one workout, maybe to get 1 or 2 spots. I get it, you want to go to the games, but now you're getting surgery, now your pec's torn up, right? So I think this should be a learning lesson for a lot of us, even general CrossFitters. Don't move in a range of motion ballistically, dynamically, that you don't own. And don't use speed as a mechanism to get through a movement at an end range that you don't own as well. All right, I'd love to hear your thoughts about steroids and CrossFit and why these people are tearing pecs. If CrossFit really needs to change something, which CrossFit will always change things and constantly try and get better. All right, day one, this is a very gymnasty of regionals, obviously, and it's definitely breaking down people, but it's not breaking down everyone. All right, but I'd love to hear why you think people are getting pec strains, whether or not you think people are doing steroids at high level CrossFit, and if they're getting away with it.